I would say the invention of the computer because of how integrated that is today and the way we work today compared to years ago.
I had two professors that were in very different disciplines. Dan Boyarsky in the graphic design and Dave Coffer in the writing program. And they were sort of on the edge, and they encouraged me to pursue both disciplines and combine them in an experience.
I use a personal coach and have for about 5 years in terms of helping me be a better leader and a better communicator. And she's changed my entire life and my approach to business and people.
The single biggest influence is probably a real belief in that communication and how you develop it, it can be both systematic and creative. The creativity gets a chance to break through when you've got real kind of set milestones and how you like to develop things.
I think it's my own little form of ADD has been the biggest influence, and I'm very fortunate for that because I've always really looked for change. I get bored quite easily, and I think that enabled me to adopt a variety of different media experiences and to look for the next envelope.
I've got to say it's probably my father, Dr. Charles Popovich, marketing professor, and somebody who always helped me keep in mind those marketing basics. And I think those marketing basics have helped keep my creative guy in check, which has probably served my clients well, having a mix of those two.
You know, I think my parents had a big influence on me, particularly my father. And that is, they were inquisitive and they were curious. And I just think that is one of the great things about what design invites one to do. It invites one to be very curious and inquisitive about the world. He said, my typewriter has the same number of keys as everybody else's, and my phone calls every other phone. Good advice.
I think it's partly because I was raised the way I was, to be broad-ranged and well-rounded, probably just to get me into a good school, good college. But I kept it going, I think, for the rest of my life. So I tend to be very curious about different aspects of whatever it is that I'm doing. And I think that's valuable. And for me, it's very valuable to kind of understand enough to be dangerous. So it probably stems from there.
Yeah, I mean, I'd say it's definitely different influences for each one because, I mean, it's not like you can, say like, Jackson Pollock is, influencing my, my graphic design today. I mean, he might, but I mean, it's like in terms of like, I could say my grandfather influenced my work ethic, I mean, there's things like that that definitely come to mind. So yeah, it's really all over the place when it comes to that. It's hard to put a finger on all the different influences. And a lot of my influences really are just the people around me.
I think the single biggest influence for me in doing what I do and the way I do it was probably my mom. And I think character she always demonstrated, the approachability, the frankness and honesty, and the fun and humor she brought to everything are some of the characteristics that fortunately rubbed off on me and I think have kind of molded me as a person and my personality and the way I interact with people.
I love working with people who are better than I am. I have this thing about that. I mean, I look at my career and I'm very, very lucky.
It really is a people business, and I've been fortunate to have been associated with many smart and dynamic people. I think the one that stands out in my mind is Herb Berger. Herb Berger is an old titan in this industry in Pittsburgh, and boy, the guy just really knew how to get things done, and he really took me under his wing, and is still a mentor of mine today.
I went to college, and I went on vacations, and then I went to work, and then I went to vacations.
Well, there probably more than one, and it's probably both people and other organizations. Certainly in terms of people. I think it's important to remind young people, hey, be careful when you're working, make sure that you make the right relationships because they form the basis generally for a career. And in my case, it's absolutely true.
They don't teach you how to do that in school. You kind of have to do it and get to know how people work, and then hopefully you can work together to get a good result.
In my 15 years at DDF&M, that's where I really learned everything. Running their media department for 15 years is where I really cut my teeth on everything and learned everything. And that's where I really learned how to develop the culture of customer service.
I think integrity in how I approach my job and interaction with clients and people in general. I think that carries through to kind of the results that I am able to attain and the relationships I'm able to make.
Every time I'm asked to do a record or create a piece of music or create an advertisement for somebody, do a voiceover, do somebody's voice tape, even the simplest things, somebody is including me in achieving their dream. And that's a really cool thing to be able to do.
I would say fear. I mean, I've never felt like I had the background for this business or for production or creative endeavors or business. I've never formally trained in any aspect of it, so I always feel like I need to work harder than the next guy, outthink them, and that's been my motivator. And I never get comfortable, so I'm working on it though.